Yo, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Max's Football Playbook, your go-to spot for power rankings, weekly game predictions, and off-season discussions like the draft or free agency. This is going to be our third episode of our off-season plan series. With the first one, we did the Raiders. With the second one, we did the Jets. Don't worry, I will still do the Cardinals and Titans eventually. But today, we're going to focus on the New York Giants, Jaxson Dart, and Cam Skattebo. Woo! Starting with our cut candidates, I'm going to cut Runyon because I think his value with the money we're getting is replaceable. I also am going to cut Hudson because he's an older player and I don't think we necessarily need him. Also gives us $5.5 million, which we can definitely reallocate for different positions. I'm also going to cut Graham Gano because I think we can find a better kicker, and that contract saves you a good amount of money. Finally, I'm also going to cut Devin Singletary because they have Cam Skattebo and they have Tracy, who make up a good 1-2 punch. We're probably going to look for a running back in the draft. With our restructure candidates, we're going to restructure Brian Burns, Andrew Thomas. We're going to do this because they're both really good players, and we expect them to be with the Giants for a long time, and they're players that you can trust pushing money back towards the future and still getting a value on that money spent. And with that, our cap space goes from $29 million to $55 million. Let's start with our free agent re-signings. All these guys are good depth pieces. However, I don't think they're worth the $3.5 million. I also want to save money so we could try to get after some big players in free agency. So we're going to go and not pay any of them, the RFA. Here, with Russell Wilson at quarterback, we already have Jameis Winston, who's a good veteran, and of course, Jaxson Dart as your starter. So I don't think you should be spending money on a third quarterback when you already have guys in the future and you have a veteran backing up Jaxson Dart. Moving on to wide receiver, I wouldn't mind bringing back Wan'Dale Robinson, but me personally, I have a plan to replace him and save money, obviously, because his contract would be big. With Gunnar Olszewski, we're going to bring him back because he's a punt returner, and punt returners are valuable, so I think it's worth it. We're also going to bring back Ryan Miller because he's an exclusive rights free agent. And then I'm between Hodgins and Ford Wheaton, but I'm going to bring back Ford Wheaton because he's a younger player and he's going to cost less. Obviously, this is why we don't pay him the RFA, because we're going to save $2 million by paying him right here. And with Hodgins, we're going to try to find a replacement, maybe in the draft. Here at tight end, with Dan Bellinger, I'm going to bring him back because he's a good, serviceable tight end. He'd probably be worth like $3 million. He's a good fit with Theo Johnson that I don't want to mess up, and I want to keep it the same. Here with Chris Manhertz, he's a 34-year-old, and I want to try to get younger in this position. Sure, he could add some value, but it's not like you have a rookie tight end at this position. So I think we can move on from him and spend some money elsewhere. Here at offensive tackle, starting with Jermaine Illuminor, we 100% have to bring him back. He was a really valuable player to this team, and losing him would definitely hurt because he's a good veteran who can definitely help coach up some of the younger guys. And for an offensive line that did do pretty good last year, it's definitely good to keep continuity, and by re-signing him, we keep that up, and hopefully we can build off that and find some replacements for some of the older guys that can make this offensive line play even better. With Evan Neal, unfortunately, this draft pick didn't work out, So I think this is a situation where it's just a fresh start. And so we're not going to re-sign Evan Neal. With Ezadu, I'm going to bring him back because he's a younger player. And we can never not have enough offensive line depth. So it's worth it to me. With Schlotman, I'm going to let him go. He's an older player. And that's why I signed Ezadu. So we can keep Ezadu around and let these other guys go off to free agency to spend money elsewhere. I'm also going to do the same thing with Stinney. We're going to move off of him. However, even though Greg Van Roten is 36 years old as of now, he was pretty good as a starter last year for the Giants. And I think he could be also a good mentor. And I want to keep this continuity around, especially if he was a starter. Maybe he won't be next season, but I'm sure he can be a serviceable guy who could be a big mentor for a younger offensive line crew. Here at Edge, we're going to bring back Victor D. He's probably going to be worth a little bit lower than what this website has him as, but I definitely think you should keep Edge depth because, of course, it's a valuable spot. However, I do think you only really need to re-sign one of the three guys. So I'm going to let these other two guys go so we can prioritize some other positions in free agency. With DJ Davidson and R&R, that's what we'll call him for short, we're going to let these guys go because I already have a plan, a free agent that we can bring in who could replace both these guys and will be a good mentor for this team. At middle linebacker, we're going to let Hewitt go and Barnes go. However, definitely going to bring back Micah McFadden. Unfortunately, with him, he got injured, so we don't know how he's going to come back playing. So, with him, I think it's going to be a one-year prove-it deal where if McFadden plays better, he'll get a better contract next year. Hopefully the Giants can keep him. And if McFadden doesn't look that good off of injury, then the Giants can move off after just 1 year. Here at cornerback, starting with our exclusive rights guys, I think you just got to bring back one of these guys. And I want to bring back Nick Jones because he's slightly younger. They're both similar in talent. They're just bench depth pieces. And I definitely think you want to keep some around, but we're going to move off of Green so we can save $1 million that could help us towards other players. However, with Flott here, 100% we're re-signing him. Flott's deal would probably look like 3 years, $10 million. And we really want Flott because this is a position of need. The Giants' top 5 biggest needs are wide receiver, interior offensive line, cornerback, defensive line, and linebacker. So with bringing back Flott, you keep that young core of cornerbacks there, and you can continue supporting that cornerback room instead of losing pieces at a position that you kind of need as of now. At safety here, I'm going to let DFF go. However, I will re-sign Dane Belton to a $12 million 2-year deal. I accidentally did 1 year. However, we'll just pretend that it's 2 years. I want to bring back Belton because he's a young player, and I think we should have a good safety trio of Belton, Newbin, and Javon Holland. Looking back at our potential cap cuts, I'm also going to cut Chris Board because we're tight on cap space right now, and I want to add some more cap space. He's also more like a depth piece, and he's an older player for a team that is kind of in the rebuilding process. Now, it's time to bring in our one and only trade of this video. In this trade, we're going to be trading Kayvon Thibodeau because trading him will save you $15 million so we can spend more in free agency, as well as with trading him, they can get a good draft pick to get a younger edge. And the reason why the Giants would do this is because they have really good depth at the edge spot. I do understand people wanting to keep them because you don't want to lose good players. However, for the reasons I said before, saving cap and getting an even younger player, I think it would be a good idea. And the team that I have trading for Thibodeau will be the Miami Dolphins. Miami in this trade would offer a third-round pick and probably a late-round filler, so we'll put in a next year 7th-round pick. For Miami, they're a team who could use help at edge, especially after releasing Bradley Chubb, who is an older player. And with Thibodeau, obviously the Dolphins are rebuilding, so they could use Thibodeau as a semi-rebuilding piece for their future. As you can see, the trade went through. So, let's get into my free agency signings. Starting with the biggest signing of this free agency, I'm going to have Tyler Linderbaum, the best offensive lineman in the free agency market, go to the Giants. And the reason I think this is possible is because their coach, obviously now, is John Harbaugh, and I think Linderbaum, because of that chemistry, he would like to go to New York. He'd be getting a good contract here, and he gets to reunite with Harbaugh in an offensive system that he's already somewhat used to. There we go. We signed him 4 years, $17 million. With our next signing, we're also going to sign Patrick Ricard from the Ravens, reconnecting with John Harbaugh. Similar reason with how I explained Linderbaum. I think he would like to go to a coach that he has really good chemistry with, and the Giants would definitely want to start using a fullback. They don't really have a good fullback as of now. So how do you get one? You can do this move right here. We're going to go back to our cap cutting situation, and we're going to cut Roy Robertson Harris. We're going to do this post June 1st so we can save some more money. Reason why we would cut him is because he's an older player, and I think he's a replaceable guy. As you can see here, we're going to sign DJ Reader. Like I said before, I was looking for a veteran defensive lineman who can provide good depth, and DJ Reader is exactly that. We're probably going to draft somewhere in the late round a defensive tackle, so hopefully he can help mentor him in this situation. A contract for Reader would probably be something like 2 years, $9 million, so $4.5 million a year, and boom, we got the deal done. With our final signing, we're going to sign Darius Slay to this young cornerback room so he can be a good veteran and can be a good supporting cast to a position of need. With that, let's get into the NFL draft. Looking at the board here, we could go wide receiver or offensive tackle or Caleb Downs. However, I'm not going to take Caleb Downs because I re-signed Belton and I have a wide receiver in mind in a way that we can get an extra pick. So, here at 5, we're going to take the Cincinnati Bengals trade that is being offered to us to go from 5 to 10 and pick up 41. Now, with the 10th pick, my wide receiver 1 is on the board. This guy is somewhat of a slot player, but he can play any position. He's a physical guy who's a great contested catcher, and he plays his ass off, which I love. And he can replace the Wan'Dale Robinson role for cheaper and be even better than him. That's Mekhi Lemon. With the rest of this draft, I'm going to try to target an offensive guard, a cornerback, a linebacker, and then in the later rounds get a defensive tackle, running back, and maybe some wide receiver or another defensive tackle depth piece. Here, looking at the board, we could take Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, a safety, but like I said, I want to keep this young core, and I really like Emmanuel Pregnon. I think he's worthy of a first-round selection, and for a team that has Greg Van Roten, a 36-year-old, you definitely want to look for your future in Emmanuel Pregnon. Like I said before, Roten could be a great mentor, and he could start a few games before eventually you let Pregnon take the reins. At pick 41, after thinking about it, I'm going to take defensive tackle Christian Miller. I'm going to take Christian Miller here because I do think this team could use depth, but we do have some good amount of picks left, And I think we can definitely get a cornerback with the 75th pick. So, for me, because Christian Miller is also a first round, he's like a 30th ranked defensive tackle. We're getting good value here at a position that you can never not have enough of. So let's build up in the trenches in this situation. At pick 75, we're going to take Keontae Scott. I'm going to take Keontae Scott, even if it says he's a safety. He's a nickel cornerback, and he could play a little bit of both. Keontae Scott had an absolutely amazing play in the college football playoffs, where Ohio State was trying to throw a screen pass, and Keontae Scott read it before the play. So he took a risk, but because of his instincts, he went straight towards where he thought the screen was going to be. He intercepted the pass, and he got an easy pick six. And I think that shows just how smart he is. And I think the Giants would love having a smart guy who's trustable at safety and cornerback. Here, at pick 105, let's take a shot on Torian York. Like I said before, I did want to take a linebacker around the mid-rounds. So, with York, for me, he's a top 95 player, so we're getting slightly better value. And the cool thing about York is that he definitely could be linebacker number one in this draft. Unfortunately, he's very undersized, but he's a player who prepares really hard for games, and it really shows off with his IQ. If he was a little taller, I think his game would translate perfectly to the NFL. However, I still like taking him here because he might work out at his size and be a great steal in this draft. At pick 143, let's get our third running back that I wanted to get before in Seth McGowan. Rounding out our last three picks, we're going to try to get a defensive tackle, a wide receiver, and then maybe another position of need. So, like I just said, let's build up some more in the trenches and get Albert Ridges. With our last two picks here, let's look for a wide receiver. I really like Eric McAllister. McAllister has some nice physical traits. Finally, rounding off our draft, I'm going to take cornerback Thaddeus Dixon. I really liked what I saw from Thaddeus Dixon at the Senior Bowl, so I'm going to draft him here and help out that cornerback position a little more. Unfortunately, as I was finishing the offseason plan, it crashed, so I can't show you guys the review, but we did get through it all, so if you want, you can wind back and see all the moves that we did. I'm just going to leave you guys with this right here. I just want to thank you guys finally for watching this video, and the next video will probably be maybe Cardinals or Titans offseason plan, or we might do NFL draft combine type short. So until next time, see you guys.